say that age kills the fire inside of a man. That he hears death coming.
It should be good from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rooftop Podcast. Let me adjust my hat because I didn't realize... Well, I knew the sun was low, which is why we shot at this angle.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was going to be right here.
I'm like looking at the camera, but I'm like...
Yeah. All right.
My head down.
So, as you may see, the camera quality has gotten a lot better. Your boy spent quite a bit of his stimulus check on a new camera. So if we have any technical difficulties, I do apologize. I just got to do the filling out process, but it's all for the better. All for the better. We haven't done a episode in a while, and this is kind of a throwback, sir. This is
throwback.
Not been a. It's not been a while since I've been here.
It has not.
This is actually old school, dude. This is the first ever episodes of the podcast here, dude.
Yeah, this is where it started, actually.
Ooh, actually, hold on. Before we completely get started, let me get my paper that I have prepared for today.
We have some stuff to talk about today.
Do you have your paper with you, sir?
I do have mine in my pocket.
All right.
In one of my pockets. Somewhere here. Here it is.
All right. So, this episode of the Rooftop Podcast, guys, we're going to be talking about the COVID-19 situation. And we actually got together and we've got some numbers. I got some numbers on like COVID. Greg has some numbers on some other viruses and such to compare to COVID. And I basically kind of wanted to do this because there's a lot of, well, I believe misinformation. A lot of people saying, 5G and shit causes it. It definitely does not, but whatever. You can believe what you want to believe. That's fine. Just stop burning down 5G towers, please. I want my phone to be faster. But basically, I wanted to do this because I wanted to get a real look at the numbers. A lot of people, are saying we're blown out of proportion. People are protesting, gridlocking the streets and stuff, and just defying the orders because they don't think it's that serious. So I got the numbers right here. I got these numbers from Google. So I don't know where they get their numbers from, but if these numbers are wrong, you can go be mad at Google. And Greg got his numbers from, I'm sure, reputable websites. We can...
I actually got most of my numbers from the CDC. So
CDC? Well,
yeah, cdc.gov. So if you guys want to go back and reference that, by all means.
That's plenty reputable for, depending on who you believe. But first of all, Greg, how has COVID affected your life so far? Because in my experience, I feel like it's not really affected mine so much because Target's not closed, so I go into work and it's basically the same. We have a line out front for stuff in the morning, so it's basically like holiday season at Target. So nothing's really changed for me. I usually don't eat out. I eat out, but I don't eat where I go to eat out. So I just pick up my food, take it home, and it's usually... life is normal, and it seems like that for a lot of people, minus the rampant unemployment, our economy tumbling, and you not being able to do certain things. But I feel like a lot of people just go out and they'll shop and do whatever just normally, So from your perspective, how much have things really changed for you?
For me, the biggest thing has been, I think, kind of outside of work, especially with school. Because right now I'm taking classes at Phoenix College and SCC, and all of them switched to online now, so I'm not doing any more in-person classes, and it's made them so confusing because some of my professors didn't even set up their online components or like our Canvas stuff until like 4 weeks, like a month after the shutdown started. So we pretty much just had 3-4 weeks of just not doing anything, not being able to submit any assignments or access any of the lessons or anything, so that was pretty bad. In terms of work, it's been kind of weird because I've been getting like 2-3 day weeks now, and I'm only getting like maybe 20 hours tops. And now that I'm not in school, it's like I have all this time free. Well, I still have online classes, but beyond that, it's like I have really nothing to do throughout the day besides just clean, maybe work out if I feel like doing it, and that's about it. So, yeah.
Well, for me, it's different for me because I usually stay indoors anyway, but I can get how it's really bad for people. But I think in the United States, we're lucky, but we're also kind of stupid. We're lucky that we have so much freedom in what we can still do, even with all these restrictions, because we could be like a lot of the European countries where, Italy?
I heard India was actually, the police were actually forcefully arresting people for going out, breaking curfew, breaking quarantine.
Yeah.
Italy, I think, is doing something similar. I know they had it bad, actually. Most of their population was infected to the point where they weren't even letting people in hospitals anymore unless they were truly sick.
Yeah.
And even then, they were having to select who they treated, I think. Mm-hmm. So that was really bad.
So I think as far as the United States goes, we're really lucky for that. Obviously, some states have it worse than others, but I think Arizona, for the most part, we've got it okay. We're not. Some of the states on here never have gone into lockdown that I have. We're not as lucky as those states, but also they're different situations.
Yeah.
But so let's get right into this, Greg. So you know that basically all the news and stuff have been saying that, you know, it's highly infectious and it's, you know, spreading throughout. We need a quarantine. We need to do all this. And here are the numbers that I've looked up. And this is just kind of help you, if the wind wasn't blowing, to get a scope of actually what the numbers are and not just going off, you know, oh, it's bad, it's bad. So in the United States, we have a population of around 328 million based on the last census, I believe what that was. We probably have way more now, you know, then that's not even including undocumented people.
I think now, it's closer to like 335 or something like that, which isn't a huge difference, but yeah.
Yeah, which, by the way, shout out to all the undocumented people working the farms during all this, keeping us alive.
Because, we need, you know, vegetables, we need livestock, we need all that stuff, and there's like almost nobody else doing it right now, so that's what's really important.
You don't want them to get out of your country now, do you? All right.
So, not just any arguments or anything, but we do need those vegetables. And
so, according to the numbers I found on the Google website for this, there's 887 I didn't do the exact numbers because I wasn't about to do all that, but it's 887,000 confirmed cases. We have 81,000 recoveries of those cases and 50,000 deaths.
Now that's just in the United States.
Now that's just in the United States. I have the world numbers as well.
I was gonna say I have it as well. So, I mean, just the total cases is all I have. So I'll let you go.
So as far as the confirmed cases go, that's about 0.27% of the population has it. Now you have to take that with a grain of salt because there's a lot of people just not getting tested, and because you can pretty much self-identify if you have it bad enough, right? You don't need to go to a doctor to tell you that you have it if you've got a fever, runny nose, a very dry cough, this and that. You know, you could like, okay, I got COVID, and boom, I just need to stay home for 2 weeks.
Sometimes it is non-symptomatic,
right?
In which case, you know,
which also presents its own problem.
That presents a lot more problems as well. We don't have the answers, obviously. We can't just come up with stuff like that. But
it also adds to the problem of, you know, not getting tested. Right? Yeah. So with really all this that I'm finding is take everything with a grain of salt, right? Yeah. Every metric we get. These are just very rough estimates based on the best information that professionals have, right? So there's so that was 0.2% of the population has confirmed cases. Probably, I would say much higher because so many people are asymptomatic to it, and just, you know, say it's something, they think it's something else, because they're actually finding that a lot of people have had it earlier than they thought. Like, I saw an article where 6 Californians had died before the whole pandemic in the United States, and they thought it was something else, and now they're finding that it was COVID. So there's a lot of situations like that we're finding where we thought it was something else. It turned out to be COVID. So it just adds to the complexity of the numbers and shit. So 81,000 recoveries, that's 9.1% of the cases recover. And so 50,000 deaths, that equals 5.6% of the cases have died, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in the United States, roughly, based on the cases, that makes it about roughly a 94%. You'll survive it.
You'll survive it, yeah. You might not get rid of it per se, but you're not going to die from it.
And the thing about that is I'm not quite sure about that metric because everything is constantly updating, right? So, I mean, there's also that whole percentage of people who I guess are in limbo, you know, waiting to see what happens.
I was going to say that too, is that not everybody's tested, not everybody's confirmed. We can't say if everybody has it, but that's just from what is confirmed cases, we can calculate that. So
okay. And so that actually differs from the world. of course. So
I mean, yeah.
no shit. So the world has roughly a population of 7.8 billion people.
Yeah.
As far as testing goes, 2.7 million confirmed cases.
Yeah.
Which, or actually, I'll get to that later. And there's 737,000 recoveries and 188,000 deaths. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Hold on. Say something, Greg.
Bless you. No. Before he moves on.
I'm burping. Sorry, I don't want to burp in the damn mic.
Yeah, that's gonna be kind of gross. Yeah, don't pay attention to Brandon, guys.
All right, I'm good.
You ready?
Yeah.
Good? All right.
Okay. I thought you were going on.
No, my bad. I was going to
Okay, so that was 737,000 recoveries and 188,000 deaths. So as far as percentages go for the world, that is about 0.03 of the world's population has been confirmed to have it. Mm-hmm. And then of the 2.7 cases, 7 million cases, 27% of the cases have recovered and 6.9% of the cases have died. So if you look at it worldwide, you can look at about quick math. Okay, sorry, 93%. I don't know why that was so hard for me. I should have just rounded to 7 immediately. A 93%.
I'm not good at math either. No.
Recovery rate or a 7% mortality rate. So you have about, I don't know if this is exactly correct, but according to this number, right, a 7% chance of dying. Or probability is probably calculated differently, so I shouldn't say that.
It's calculated a little bit different, but I get what you're trying to say.
7% of people who get it tend to die. But again, that's only based on the amount of people who have tested, which is so much less people than are in the world, right? So you have 2.7 million confirmed cases. Even if we had 500 million people who got tested, right? That is so much less than 7.8 billion people. There's still 7.3 billion people who have not been tested at that point, right?
Yeah.
So we really truly don't know the scope of it around the world, but if we're basing it off the numbers that we've been given, then you can say that. And, the numbers in the United States as far as deaths is about 1.3% off, right? And that's probably just due to, third world countries not having as good as an infrastructure for medical and, healthcare and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So, that's just the numbers that we have as far as the United States and the world. And just again, like I said, take everything with a grain of salt. So if you want to compare that to maybe the mortality rates and the effect that other diseases and viruses and stuff had in the past, if you have that on your sheet. I don't know. I actually don't know what Greg wrote down, which I think was better for me not to know because you can get a better genuine reaction, you know what I'm saying, to the info. I
kind of went a little bit of a different route, but are you still going? Or are you,
no, I'm good. I'm good.
So mine, I just wanted to kind of like, in honor of COVID, kind of just bring up some information about some past pandemics / plagues we've had. Obviously, the Black Plague is one of the biggest, most well-known pandemics in history. It was caused by obviously the bubonic plague, and it went from 1346 to 1353 from I think it was in Asia at first and then ended up in Europe. And it killed around 75 to 200 million people, which at the time, I think they can estimate the population was somewhere around 3 billion, maybe a little bit less, give or take. So that was a pretty decent percentage of people for that time, at least. Obviously, nowadays, 75 to 200 million isn't really a lot. But back then that was a pretty big number.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then another pandemic I wanted to bring up was the Spanish flu, which was a lot more recent, within the last century, actually. It was from 1918 to 1919. It actually infected a total of a third of the world's population, which is probably not a total, I shouldn't say, because usually they underestimate, just because you can't come up with the exact number. That's impossible.
Yeah.
And so usually underestimating is the safest thing to do. So that's about 500 million people were infected, and they estimate around 50 million people in the world.
May I just say something real quick, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was trying to get this and remember this at the beginning of the episode while I was trying to say how this is all original, but it just reminded me. I was wanting to say that this is the best and the worst place to film, because it's the best because your roof is so flat and it's pretty easy to film, but we're right next to a fucking highway. So if you guys can hear all that noise, I'm sorry, but
that hasn't been an issue in the past, though, has it?
No, I don't think so. But I just had that on my mind if I remembered it. So sorry, I just wanted to get it out.
No, you're good. I think we filmed here before. I don't think I've ever heard, because I would go back and watch it. I don't think I ever heard any of the sounds.
You know how we do the rooftop podcast, high quality.
Right behind you guys, though, right behind that camera, there's a big freeway wall about maybe 20, 30 feet tall, and there's just cars behind it. So it is kind of loud. We can hear it pretty well. I don't know if you guys can.
Also, if the camera dies, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out the camera, see how long I can shoot.
Yeah, he's working out the kinks because he's still kind of new with this camera.
Yeah, so.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, the death toll worldwide was about 50 million people for the Spanish flu, at least. 675,000 people in the United States ended up dying from it as well. And it had a very strange pattern of killing people. The groups of people that were actually susceptible to it were anybody less than 5 years old, anybody 20 to 40 years old, and then those 65 and older. So there was like little windows of people from like...
So if you were like 50 to 59, you'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's
apparently,
weird.
According to studies that I researched on CDC, it's really weird. If you were 50 to 59, I guess you were cool. As soon as you hit 65, you're screwed again. 65 or older, you're screwed again. Which is weird. It's almost like 6 to 15-year-olds were fine, but 6 to 19-year-olds. But as soon as you hit 20, it's like, okay, now you're more susceptible to dying of the Spanish flu. I don't know exactly why or how, but yeah. And then it just kind of like bring up some points about coronavirus that people say that it usually only kills those that are, susceptible to it, people that have pre-existing issues, which isn't always true. We can't exactly prove who it will kill, who it won't kill. Sometimes people are susceptible and are more at risk of it and end up coming out of it. Sometimes people seem perfectly healthy and fine and have strong immune systems and still die from it. It's claimed the lives of a few people recently that are notable, although I can't exactly say super notable because there are a couple of rappers. There's a rapper that died from it who I'd never heard of before named, I think, Fred the Godson or something like that. There was there was an athlete. I forget her name. She wasn't anybody famous. She wasn't like an Olympic athlete or anything like that. I think she was like in college, at like a D2 college. I think she ended up passing away to the coronavirus, which, again, you wouldn't think an athlete of all people who constantly works on their cardio, who, probably has a strong system.
Shape.
Yeah, very good shape. You wouldn't think that they would die from it. But then I've come across people that I've worked around that say they had elder relatives that ended up having it, and they said that they ended up fine, that they went through a really bad fever, coughing, fatigue, loss of taste, a lot of crazy stuff like that, and ended up coming back and were fine after, 2-3 weeks. They were good. So,
and if anyone has something to say about me and Greg not socially distancing, it's okay. We're family. We can kill each other. That's all right.
Not just that, but we already kind of like...
Look, we work in situations that...
I work in fast food, and
I work at retail,
so we're constantly in contact with people.
We probably already had it.
I've been sneezed on by so many people in the past month, so like if I have it, I have it.
Not to say you shouldn't be socially distant.
Not to say you shouldn't.
Please, please do.
Please do. Yeah, for the sake of, if not for you, then for the sake of your elder relatives, which in my case, that's what my motivation is as well.
And look, so the thing about that is, if you want to say, well, your numbers say only 0.02% of people die from it or whatever. Oh, I have the number. I should just fucking look at it. Only 5.6% people die from it.
Brandon, that's a huge difference from 0.02%.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, you say, well, that's a very low number. Like, okay, yeah, that's fine, but that's 5.6% of people. Well, there still would have been a percentage of people who got it and died, right? But if we would have been more responsible about it, it could have been 1%. It could have been less than 1%. A lot of people probably did not have to die if people took it a little more seriously. And yeah, it might not be as serious as something like the bubonic plague or the Spanish flu. Like, it doesn't mean we don't have to take it seriously. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all I had to say.
One of the biggest things with it, though, too, is that they haven't been able to synthesize it very well. And let me kind of rephrase that. What I mean to say is we haven't found a cure for it yet. There's no vaccine. So as of right now, if people continue to get it and they continue to, succumb to the symptoms of it, there's really not much that we can currently do besides just trying to treat those specific symptoms, which really sucks. But I think that that's what makes social distancing, which at first I was kind of like bashing a little bit, but as I kind of like thought about it more and more, I figured that it is pretty important considering there are those who cannot fight it. And I may not be one of them, but it wouldn't be fair if I was being careless and, spitting on things and licking my hands and not washing my hands and touching people and breathing on people who were more susceptible to dying from it. It just wouldn't be fair. So I feel like that's something that we should all kind of consider.
And again, you should remember that these numbers are very...
And I was going to say too, you brought up a great point that if we'd been more careful about it. Do you remember who the NBA player was? I forget.
Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert, there you go.
Just rubbing up on
a bunch of his teammates were bashing on the guy because they're like, yeah, this guy is careless. He was touching people, touching their things, spitting on things. Like, he just was gross in the locker room. And
the way
I think one of his teammates tested positive as well, which he could have very well given it to them.
He probably infected multiple of his teammates. Like, he tested positive, started rubbing up on Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell tests positive. What do you think happened? So, I mean, not that this pandemic could have been avoided. I mean, I don't know. It very may well could have. You know what I'm saying? But
to an extent.
But basically, we could have handled this a lot better. Not just the United States. The United States for damn sure, but the world could have handled it a lot better. And, taken better precautions, researched it a little more when they saw the early developments of it, and, took in the proper steps. Because really for a while, the whole world, or not the whole world, but a lot of other countries we saw were having huge outbreaks, pandemics in their own little places. And then we really didn't change anything. We didn't change anything until it was really too late. You know what I'm saying? To where, we already have a pandemic here. So I was watching a video by this YouTuber named Thoughty2. Not Thoughty like a hoe, but Thoughty like a thought in your mind. Thoughty2.
I was like, Thoughty. Go ahead.
He does a lot of really cool intellectual videos and, based on informations and facts and just like, thinking on like situations. And he was saying that we actually got pretty lucky with COVID-19 because based on other epidemics, like Spanish flu, like bubonic plague, we got off relatively light. He said, one of the things he said was that if you were to, put pandemics on a roll of a dice, like D&D, whatever, we basically rolled a 1, right? Because
I agree.
Because
in terms of lethality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because, COVID-19's killed, whatever, hundreds of thousands of people. Is that right? I keep forgetting I have these goddamn numbers here.
Numbers written down. We're not looking at them.
Hundreds of thousands because 188,000.
Because the confirmed cases is only 2.7 million.
Yeah,
so,
and again, that's
the death rate is much lower.
Actually, what you can say about these numbers is they're minimums.
Yeah, they are minimums.
They're minimums.
They are minimums. They have to be.
They're conservative. Yeah, that's what they are. Mm-hmm. So that's how you can also look at this. So minimum hundreds of thousands of people have died from this, right? Mm-hmm. And he's saying you basically rolled a 1 on the dice because, Spanish flu and the bubonic plague could have been, in terms of lethalities, they were 3 or 4. But what if we rolled a 6? What if we had COVID-19's contagiousness along with the bubonic plague's, lethality
and its symptoms.
Even more lethal.
The bubonic plague. Even remember there was an outbreak in I think it was 2013 in Texas, Florida. I forget.
Like many.
It was very minor. I think there was maybe like 8 U.S. cases at tops, and then it kind of ended there. They caught it really quick actually, but in terms of lethality, it's close to none. I mean, I can't say none. It has killed people, but it's lower than that of the Spanish flu, which I mean. In that case, the influenza, we've already H1N1. We have vaccines for that. We've almost eradicated deaths from H1N1. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen anymore because we've been able to synthesize it. As where with coronavirus, we haven't synthesized it yet. We're just lucky the lethality, like he was saying, isn't on the same level as that of the black plagues, or the bubonic plague, rather.
Okay. Yeah. And so what he was also saying in this video that I was watching is that this can also help us to prepare for future pandemics, that we can see that, COVID was this infectious, we can see that we got lucky, and that we can better prepare our national health systems and stuff like that, to prepare for pandemics in the future, that maybe something does have the lethality of the Spanish flu or the bubonic plague, but that we're better equipped to stop it in its tracks and not have it spread like COVID spreaded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, actually on contagiousness, I do have something. So So I forgot what website it is. I'm going to do my best. I should have done this in the moment, and I'll try to start doing it in the future when we make videos like this.
Yeah.
But I was looking up basically statistics on its infectiousness, and so it said about 1 in 5 people tested, or 20%, tested positive for COVID-19. So that's, 5 people in a group, one has it, boom, everyone's probably infected. You know what I'm saying? But again, you take this with a grain of salt, because they really only tend to test high probability people. Like, I had a cough like a few days ago or whatever, and I told you about it. I wasn't sure what the fuck it was, because I
had a little episode too where I thought that I had something, like, where I was almost sure I had it.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to get it looked at first, because the symptoms went away that same day.
Yeah.
Whatever I had, I think it was an asthma attack.
Anything can really... The thing is, so many things can cause a cough, right? You can fucking breathe in the wrong way and you'll cough, or
I have a funny story about that, actually.
Allergies can cause a cough, and I've been having allergies, and that's
oh, my allergies have been terrible. I've been snoring lately. I never snore.
I just watched a video, quick, like, aside. I just watched a video today on why we created our own allergy problem, and basically it's because, basically we planted all male trees in our cities, because I forgot, there was some disease going around, and for some reason they planted all male trees, and also some female trees of certain species, have like fruit they didn't want to clean up, or the smells when they're in heat. So basically, it's a Cheddar video. You can go watch it on there. They'll explain it way better than I fucking am. But basically, every tree that we've planted, for the most part, is a male tree, and they all produce pollen.
I didn't know
that.
Right. So it's just really
pollen city.
Pollen, yeah. As soon as, like, springtime hits. Mm-hmm. Damn, that's why the allergy season is so bad.
Yep, and so, I mean, they're not going to fucking go and cut down all the trees because
that's too much money.
People have allergies.
There's no point, yeah.
So basically, I mean, I don't know if they have any plans in place, right? But the plan in place would be just start planting female trees and, distance them from the male trees if you don't want the reproductive stuff. But sorry, that was way off.
I don't even know female trees. Like, I figured they could go in heat, I guess. I just didn't know that actually happened for plants.
I mean, technically women go in heat, just ovulating.
Well, no, yeah, because they're still living organisms. They're still living things. They have cells, they reproduce.
I'm going to check the camera. You keep going and continue.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
I just never
the lighting also changed, so I'm like...
No, you're good. I'm kind of afraid, because the sun went down. I hope it didn't affect the cameras. Not affect the settings, but make it to where we can't see us anymore. Looks all right? All right, well... I also wanted to bring up another point. I kind of forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so the whole COVID thing. Did you guys know in 2003 there was an outbreak of a virus called SARS, which was actually another strain of the coronavirus, another member of the coronavirus family, which scientists actually think came from the same place. And many scientists speculate that they come from black markets in Southeast Asia.
The animals you're talking about?
Yes. Basically, what it is there's black market syndicates, crime syndicates in these Asian countries that traffic and extort exotic animals from all different places and bring them to centralized markets, and they sell them for a profit. The thing is, these animals bring their own unique parasites from where they're from, their own unique viruses, diseases, bacteria, which disease, kind of bacteria, virus, both. They were thinking that one of the original coronavirus strains must have combined with some other weird disease or some other virus, rather, and genetically bonded or reproduced, or I don't know what they did exactly, to create a new virus. And in doing so, one of these black market, animal workers must have sold it to somebody or held it or did something with it to the extent that they contracted it from that bat, or the person took it home, cooked it, the virus for whatever reason was able to withstand it, or maybe they already contracted it before they even cooked the bat.
Yeah.
But at some point, that virus from that bat that had combined with something else got into a human being, and that's basically what started the outbreak in Wuhan.
I've also read, I've read some articles and just seen a lot of articles saying, like, there was so many different animals,
Oh,
you know,
yeah. It might not have even been the bat. The bat might have just carried it from another animal.
Some were, one article, I think, I just read the headline because if you try to read every fucking article about COVID, you're never going to leave. You're not going to you're going to end your life by the time you finish all of them.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, there's way too many.
But yeah, one was saying that might have not even started in Wuhan, but I don't have any further information than the title, so.
No, there's so many different theories and speculations. That's just one of the theories from scientists that I've heard, which they are almost sure of. They're not exactly saying, oh, it's a theory. They're more so saying, this is pretty much what happened. We're just not going to give you too many exact details. But yeah, so it's just another version of the coronavirus, another member of the family. The SARS outbreak in 2003 was also a coronavirus.
Yep.
Which are, according to, I forget what website it was, but according to this website I read from, they're categorized by this little halo ring that's around the actual cell that goes. I was looking at a picture of it under a microscope. The little virus strain would go past this membrane of like the white blood cell wall into a person, and therefore and replicate inside the lungs. Basically, it would copy all of your white blood cells and everything inside your lungs, replicate and reproduce until they completely overflooded your lungs to the point where they would end up killing you. But some people are strong enough to fight it. It can physically damage your lungs, leave scar tissue in there, but yeah, you can survive it.
Do you have any other further notes on your paper?
Let me check one last time to make sure that
because I kind of want to. Because next, I kind of want to get into like how it's affecting the economy and places that are starting to open up and stuff like that.
All of my notes are kind of on this side are about politics, not really the economy per se, more so about just kind of like our government and how they're handling it.
Okay, so all in the same wheelhouse, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, you go ahead. Start.
Okay, so some info on like places opening up and what's happening throughout the country. I have some notes. There's a lot that I could have written down on here, but we'd be here for a very, very long time if I wrote down everything. So I kind of wanted to condense this.
Too much information out there.
I'm not quite Joe Rogan yet. I can't do 3-4 hour podcast. I mean, I could, but I don't know how good it'd be.
Joe Rogan is a god. I mean, I shouldn't say he's a god because I might offend some people, but yeah.
And also, I mean, it could be. I feel like it could be a 3-4 hour podcast. But I don't think I want to talk about COVID for 4 hours.
4 hours. I mean, we could bring up other topics, but I prefer we'd write it down and first because this is.
And that would be a lot of research for that.
Yeah, it would.
If you're gonna do a 4 hour podcast on COVID, you better have everything. Okay, so if I'm gonna watch that shit, you better be prepared.
It helps too with bigger podcasts like that because they have teams of people that actually do specific things. Yeah. So he has people that research for him. Mm-hmm. So
or Joe Rogan. Well, he also brings on professionals and they know a lot more. And
of course. And he himself is an educated man. He doesn't just come on without knowing things.
All right. So some states that have have never had a stay-at-home order are Arkansas, Iowa, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Utah, Wyoming, and that's it. As far as Arkansas and Utah, I feel like, I don't know the numbers on those places. I didn't look them up, but Arkansas maybe I can see as having a lot of rural, but I feel like Utah is kind of a very metro place, right? Salt Lake City and stuff.
For the most part, yeah.
So, I don't know. I actually don't know much about these states, to be honest with you, because, I don't know, I feel like...
we probably should have looked into that. I don't even...
Yeah. I know for damn sure Wyoming, is probably fine.
That's rural. Yeah, that's farmland. Yeah, there's no...
But, now, Georgia, by the end of... I think this article was a few days
Georgia
old.
is kind of a little bit of both. They have big metropolitan cities, but then they also have a lot of rural areas.
Georgia wasn't on that list, sir.
Oh, they weren't? Okay.
So, Georgia... God damn it.
The wind isn't... Yeah,
Georgia is to open some businesses by the end of next week. I think this article was like 3 days old, but it said it was updated today, so, sometime within this month or close to the early May. Tennessee is opening businesses next week, so, end of April, early May. South Carolina to open stores, like department stores and stuff, Tuesday. And then Michigan, Wisconsin, Idaho have plans to open after May 1st when the federal social distancing guidelines go away.
And they actually said they might extend it. I think I was looking at that interview. Yeah. Trump said he might extend it until summertime.
And look, so I'm not a professional, right? And based on these numbers, maybe you for sure, these are conservative again. And I can see where people are coming like, well, those are small, so like we should be fine. But the problem is when you get areas like Michigan where people are going out and protesting in the streets of the Capitol and, gathering in mass during a fucking pandemic, where Michigan has one of the biggest problems, right? So the governor of Michigan was saying that they are third in number of COVID cases, right? Well, Michigan is definitely not third in population in the country.
No, they're not.
So you have a lot of hotspots like that, people are wanting to break out and...
Which is crazy because they say it's not very resistant to heat. So is it resistant to cold then? Because Michigan is pretty snowy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, it's not winter over there.
Yeah, but I think there's still snow though, isn't there?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. I really don't know.
I could be wrong. I'm not from Michigan. I probably should have fact checked that.
Yeah.
Oops.
But there's a lot of governors making decisions that I think are not very smart, right?
Yeah.
Opening things that should not be open. I mean, they're opening beaches and shit in Florida, and some beach towns in like the southern states, like Georgia and stuff. So
in those places where it's hotter, though, I think it's because they feel like it dies usually in the sunlight. It doesn't survive in sunlight for very long. I guess they figure it probably would die if it's on the surface of people's skin.
And it is killing the economy for damn sure, right? It's killing the economy, killing small businesses. And I completely understand the sentiment that all these small business owners have, that they're getting fucked, because they're getting completely fucked, and these large corporations are taking advantage of these funds and, things that were for small businesses, and it's harder for these small businesses to qualify for the help that they can get. I didn't look exactly at the policies, right? But nothing's changed, right? Big corporations always went out. And, you know what I'm saying? A big corporation's hardly, not going to fail. And they're basically just getting free money for nothing from all this stimulus money or whatever. So I understand that small business owners are really getting screwed because they don't have, the capacity or, the people to necessarily operate in a way that a big company could adjust, right? Like, they can't, like, if they shut down maybe they only have in dining, right? They can't do, like, takeout, or it's just not viable, So I understand that it's killing them, and I understand the sentiment where they're out there trying to protest to get things back opened up. But I think that's a situation in where that our politicians need to step up and, do something for these small business owners. And it's not just going to do something for the small business owners. It'll help the economy, whatever they do, because that's more businesses being helped out, more cash flow and shit. It's a lot more complicated than I'm fucking making it out right now, right? But I'm not trying to get all the minutia about the shit.
Yeah.
But I think they got to understand that, especially like touristy spots that they're opening up, like beaches and stuff, that you're not going to have the tourism that you've been relying on for income and stuff anyhow. And that's kind of different from small businesses. But
I think we're still in a state of emergency, right? So most borders are locked down.
Yeah.
We're not usually letting anybody who's just not a citizen or a resident, we're not letting them come back in.
So you got to understand that even if you open up, like, you still might be fucked because social distancing, and there's still rules in place that are going to affect your business, right? But I understand the sentiment. You just got to think that see, that's what's so tough about it, is because it's these people's livelihood and they don't get the advantages that these big corporations get, and you feel for them,
It ties you in two directions. It's like you don't really know who to side with.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is real tough.
Because one part of me is all like, oh, freedom, liberty, we shouldn't have our government tell us what to do. But then part of me is like, yeah, but this is a pandemic and people are getting sick and people aren't being responsible about it. And I think these protests are a great example of that. It's like they want to blame it all on the government, and it's like nobody wants to take responsibility. And I get it. I kind of feel the same way, but it's like...
I'm going to set up a light real quick.
Yeah,
go ahead. No, keep going, though. Keep going.
There was a page that I follow, too, on Facebook that brought up a great point. They were saying how the government should leave it up to us and how we should be able to be responsible for our own whatever. and people are saying like, oh well, people aren't going to be responsible. Like people are going to continue getting sick, and they brought up the point. Well, yeah, but even if people are still getting sick, what are we supposed to do? Just stay in quarantine forever? Stay there indefinitely? What's the solution?
Right.
We can't stay in quarantine indefinitely because it's going to just continue killing the economy. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we want to prevent people from getting sick. So
I don't know if that light's going to help now, but it will definitely help in the future when it's getting darker.
In the future, yeah, when the sun goes down more. But
yeah. Now look, to me, I think the only obviously there's people way more intelligent than me on that, right? Or maybe not, which is also another big problem. But for me, the solution, the solution would to be something for small businesses specifically, right? And try to, make the policy to where big businesses can't fucking take advantage of it. But also another problem is, people just doing whatever the fuck they want. Like I understand. Okay, so one thing my Uncle Bobby brought up to me is, them saying that you can't have a church service. Well, then do we have really a separation of church and state, right? Yeah. And so, look,
that's a good point.
I don't want to say that you shouldn't be able to go to church, right? Because no matter what your beliefs are, if you're an atheist or whatever, a Buddhist, you're in a cult, whatever the fuck, right? Just let everyone believe what they want as long as they're not killing people,
yeah.
Right? But to me, I told him, well, I mean, there's a limit, right? You can do... Oh, fuck. What the fuck did I say? Basically, you can do whatever you want until it starts affecting other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have church and state separation, but once you start fucking sacrificing people in your church, at what point do does the government step in?
You draw the line, yeah, and do where things come together. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a tough situation. I personally believe that on the situation, I think that, yeah, churches should shut down for the moment. You know what I'm saying? It's tough, right? I want you to be able to express yourself, believe what you believe, but there's limits, right? And I'm sure you've seen the video of that chick who's going to church or whatever, and she tells the reporter she'll be fine because she's covered in the blood of Jesus Christ. Well, let's stick you in a hospital with a bunch of infected people and see how that blood of Christ works out. Yeah. But anyway, and a lot of people are saying, well, okay, if you're going to the congregation, then you're okay with getting sick, right? Everyone there is okay with...
You are kind of signing that implied contract.
Yeah. But the problem is, especially with COVID-19, is that the symptoms don't show up until well after you're infected.
Yeah.
So, you go to church...
You can... They might show up sometimes, but I think in most cases they do show up later.
Yeah, well, they say 2 to 14 days, right?
Yeah, 2 to 14
And
days.
even at the minimum of 2 days, you can still go a lot of places in 2 days. So the problem becomes yeah, okay, well, that's fine. Well, my Uncle Bobby, I think, literally said this. He said, well, it's me. Or not even just him, but, people are saying, well, it's me. It's my choice to go out there and take the risk that I get COVID-19. Why can't I make that decision for myself? And it's not that you can't make that decision to, fucking... risk yourself, which is kind of along the same line as why can't I kill myself? Why am I getting arrested for trying to kill myself? Which I think is kind of weird.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to talk about, but not weird to talk about, just weird in of itself and in its nature. But yeah.
But anyway, that's different. That was off topic.
It is a little bit, but it's a comparison. So
it's not that I'm not wanting you to have the freedom to make that decision, for yourself. It's when you have something like this situation, right? This is a special situation. You go to church, sure, you took that risk, you caught it, you went to the store, you went to touch that gas pump, you went, did all this, and now because you went to church, instead of just reading the fucking Bible, which is essentially all you do at church anyway, right? You just read and talk about the Bible. And whatever else books. I'm not that religious myself. Not that religious.
He doesn't
myself,
go to church.
Right? Yeah. But it's. Do you know what I'm trying to say? At that point, it's not just affecting you. If you're going to church, locking yourself down, and until you go to church again, sure. But let's be real. Most of them, if not all of them, are not doing that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not saying they're any worse than the people who go to the store just to fucking walk around because they're bored. You shouldn't be doing that either.
Yeah.
You know, but the stores are essential. Now, there are some states that have banned the sale of non-essential items, which would help with that.
Really?
Yeah, it was, I can't remember the state. It was an East Coast state. I want to say it was Pennsylvania, but they banned all stores from selling non-essential items, which I think is a very good idea, right? I mean, still worse for the economy, but like as far as trying to flatten the curve and, you know, go on a decline as far as numbers and infections go, like I don't know why everyone didn't do that.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard for me to take a side because, you know me, I'm all about, you know, freedom liberty, whatever, but
it's not that I'm not like that about that either. I think I'm very like, fuck you, you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah,
but, you know,
yeah, we're both the same way in that.
I also have a sense for someone other than myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Because this is not a situation where it's just myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's so tough about this situation.
Yeah.
And the thing about these situations is you have to take a side. Right?
Yeah, you kind of. Yeah. It's honestly because it directly affects you. It directly affects everybody you're around, and it's such a like.
And it's really where your priorities at.
Yeah, and it's such a pressing thing at the moment because it's affecting us all so, you know, incredibly that you can't really be on the sideline about this one. You kind of have to be involved in this one because at the end of the day, it's affecting you. It's affecting everybody. So this is something that's like active right now. So it just makes it so difficult. Like I don't know who to side with. One part of me is like, yeah, I kind of understand what these protesters are saying. Another part of me is like, but at the same time, we want to slow infections and this is a pandemic and we don't know how much worse this thing can get. I don't know if things really...
Just got hit in the face with a bug or something.
That's gross.
To me, really not the only, but the one I can think of is just really just, at this point, you know, government intervention and things like, you know, relief for these businesses that are too gravely affected to fucking go on. You know what I'm saying? These small businesses and you know, people have been affected like a lot. Someone who runs a small business that I love watching on YouTube, he runs his own repair shop in New York City, Louis Rossman. I don't know if you see him. He talks a lot about, you know, things that are going on COVID-19 and takes a small businesses person, you know, point of view from it, and you makes you and you see it from his point of view and you like, wow, that makes a lot of sense, right? And so one thing that he's been talking about a lot is, you know, landlords, them still being able to collect rent from people,
from tenants, but the tenants aren't bringing any income,
right? Yeah. And so one of the things he was talking about today, or not today, but a video I watched today, was that when he bought his space, right, he pays however, you know, buttload much for a small amount of space in New York City, but he's paying for basically, you know, the business that his location, not the space he's buying, but basically, you know, a location, what the business you're going to get from where you're at. And that's what he was told he's renting the space for, right? That's why he's paying up the ass for a small little place. But now that, you know, everything's all flipped upside down and a lot of these landlords are, a lot of these properties they have are leveraged, right? They're using borrowed money. They bought the property with borrowed money, and the only way they're paying for it is with the tenant. Now, oh, well, you're paying for the space instead of... Because I'm no longer getting the business. I can't be open. So how am I paying for the business that this location's bringing in if I don't have any business? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And now they're flipping, no, you're paying for the space. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on like that that's affecting small businesses that, you know, we have to take into account for. Like, how are we going to let landlords do that to people? And so... I love watching him. He's also a huge right to repair guy. I'm a right to repair guy. Definitely should be able to fix something you fucking own. But that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, that's I recommend if you want to get a small business owner's perspective on this. I will look up Louis Rossman. He's got some very, very good takes on it.
He put his link in the... I'll put his channel in the description.
I'll put his channel in the description. If you go there, let him know that I shouted you out. And he'll be like, who's this fucking 100 subscription channel?
Who the hell is this guy? There's nobody... Yeah. Let me give him a look. I like what he's talking about. No,
but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's... got anything to say about that, Gregory?
I mean, I have a few things, I guess. It's really tough, and I think it's unfair that landlords can still charge people. I know that with some loan companies that they're deferring payments right now, and even with actually I can't say that because I'm not supposed to know that. There are some companies, some banks who I cannot say the name of.
Wait, what? You have like actual insider information?
No, not like that. It's not even that really.
Is it like coming from your family member?
No, it's not even that. It's very general information, which most people already know. Most banks, anybody really who's loaning out money, I think a lot of them are kind of doing periods where they're not charging you anymore. They're giving you like a what is the word for it?
Well, you said it, deferring the payment.
Postponing, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you just
rescinding.
pay it
I don't
later.
know, not rescinding, but postponing payments until like a later date, maybe like a month, 2 months later, whenever the quarantine ends, because there are a lot of people out of work right now, which is obvious, which is something that we don't even have to mention. The economy is obviously plummeting because of it, but that's just.
This is one of the, well, not one of the few times, but one of the times in recent history where, you're lucky to have a job, right? Before it was, and look, not that you're not still valuable as a worker, right? But now there's a lot more competition for your job because there is so little, right?
Yeah.
Before, you could have just told your employer, well, fuck you, I'm a hard worker, but I don't go somewhere that appreciates me. Well, now you really got, fucking fast food and retail. And,
there are some, different offices, banks, and whatever that have their employees working
but
from
they're definitely
home,
not hiring.
But they're not hiring. No, they're not hiring.
Even my job's full. Target, I don't think they're hiring right now.
Yeah, a lot of grocery stores are not hiring right now.
Yes.
Part of it is a lot of them are actually still experiencing decreased business, actually. And it isn't even necessarily decreased business. It's more so the volume.
I would say it's different business. Target's having they're having record sales as far as like online.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then.
Online sales.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. Some restaurants are experiencing decreased business.
Yes.
And in my case, my job, we had a dip in our customer per whatever day, and they ended up really cutting everybody's hours because they weren't able to afford paying us and still operating the building. So yeah, I should rephrase that. Some restaurants are having trouble keeping up with their payments because there's not as many customers. So because of that, in which for example, my employer, I'm not getting as many hours, so it is kind of rough.
Yeah. Anything else you've got to say?
Oh, so also in terms of like government, kind of like I just wanted to bring up this.
Yeah, you didn't say anything on. Well, not anything.
It's not a lot on here. It's just random little things. So there was some news reports where President Trump was on stage behind. I forget the guy's name. He was a doctor, scientist. Forget his name.
Fauci or whatever.
It might have been
Dr. Fauci or.
It might have been. He was talking about the different ways that coronavirus can be killed. Bleach can kill it in 5 minutes if bleach is just sitting on the counter with the coronavirus. Isopropyl alcohol kills it in 30 seconds just sitting there. It kills it faster when you rub it in. President Trump brought up the point asked him to research injecting the body with disinfectants to fight the coronavirus in the lungs. Now, people are saying, oh, he's promoting it. The video, I watched it. He didn't necessarily promote it. That wasn't his word choice. He more so looked over to him and addressed him specifically and asked him if they could test that. However, he did promote the use of oxychloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, which are both medications used to treat malaria. His whole thought process was we could use it to slow down, curve, or even cure the coronavirus. However, that wasn't the case, and I think some people ended up taking too much. I don't know exactly the story, but apparently
some people like took
because of it.
Fucking aquarium tablets of hydrochloroquine and died. It was actually, I think, in Arizona. Yeah.
I don't know where, but I know someone died because of it, and now a lot of people are going after Trump because of it, and he's
Trump's
saying,
not a fucking doctor. Don't listen to Trump.
Okay.
The amount of outrageous shit that comes out of our president's mouth is like...
And, we're not here to bash people per se. We're not here to set up any arguments, but at the same time, Trump says a lot of things that aren't true, that don't have any real... facts to back them. There's no statistics backing a lot of what he says, and yet people still take that and run with it. And he's not a trained professional. He is our president, but he's not a trained professional. I would not take any medical advice he gives you at all.
I feel like a lot of times when Trump says stuff, it's not in like a completely like, oh, you should do this. I feel like he's just like a normal dude. He's like, well, I don't know. Maybe he's like.
I don't think he's evil. He just puts his foot in his
uneducated.
Yeah, just uneducated.
I feel like he's just like when he was talking to the doctor. I feel like he's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe look into that, fucking try it. Who knows? Like,
there's been a few times where he's kind of impressed me and seemed like he was really fit, but other times
he's definitely
says things that just are not true, says things that are almost tainting people in our nation, because there's a lot of people out there that are older, that don't have access to technology or don't know how to use it, that don't know how to research or fact check on their own, and they believe a lot of the things he says. A lot of these conservative Republicans believe what he's saying, which a lot of what he says is not true, and it's making things very frustrating for other people. Which
also doesn't help that a lot of the shit that, you know, mainstream media and on the left says is also not, I mean, depending on the situation, right? Everything's situational. I'm not trying to get political here with it, but, you know, like,
we don't want to
both
get too
sides don't make it fucking easy on themselves when they fucking say certain things, right?
Yeah.
So, and kind of on that is like, you know, recent times have been very divided. You know, not that we haven't been divided in the past. We've always been fucking divided,
two-party
right?
system, it's always been that way.
We've always been divided, but hopefully,
the formation
like,
of this country.
I don't know.
Not exactly. Two-party system was a little bit later, but
I just hope, like, I feel like maybe it's just because we have a lot of tech and a lot of, like, media sources nowadays. Like, we get to see a lot more. But I hope that, you know, us having so much to look at and, you know, so much bad to look at on both sides, don't get me wrong, like, we can just fucking see how, to me, like, gross we look fighting. You know, how just, why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? And come together more in the future. Hopefully, I don't know, I guess with every younger generation, you know, there's a little more creeping up to that, I would say.
Yeah.
But, excuse me. Oh, fuck. 6 feet right now.
Oh, yeah, you just coughed. I got to get away from you.
All right. But yeah, anyway, guys, yeah, let's just try to be peaceful. Me, myself, I'm just tired of seeing everyone fight, bro. I don't know, but...
Sorry, I'm gonna check the draft real quick. I want to see who took who real quick, just real fast.
Who the Cardinals took?
I'm trying to see if the Cardinals went yet. Oh, my God. The Cardinals got Isaiah Simmons, who's arguably the most versatile defensive player. Actually, not arguably. He is the most versatile defensive player in the draft. Linebacker from Clemson. This guy is ridiculous. The Cardinals just got... Okay, I'm sorry. That's
Greg's
exciting.
Pretty lit.
They got Isaiah Simmons. I'm an LSU fan all the way. I'm excited for Joe Burrow going first round to... first pick overall, actually, to the Bengals. I mean, to the Bengals, they kind of suck, but... You know, you got to build up. But being a Cardinals fan, seeing them take a guy like Isaiah Simmons, that's a good pick. That's a solid pick.
And we got DeAndre Hopkins. That was crazy.
That was we robbed. Sorry, this is going to all Houston Texans fans. Not you guys, because you guys are not part of the organization. But your favorite team, they got robbed. They got robbed.
All right, so you got anything else to say on COVID?
That's about it, I think. Just keep socially distancing.
Yeah. And look, even with a lot of places opening back up, right? I would advise you, if you just think what I'm talking is bullshit, you're gonna do what you want to talk. If you think Corona's bullshit, I don't think I'm gonna change your mind, right? But
there's a lot of conspiracy theorists about that. I don't know I don't know what to tell you guys if you're a conspiracy theorist. I don't know.
I fucking talk to a conspiracy theorist. It's kind of hard to fucking debate them. You got to really know what they believe, because the thing about conspiracy theorists is they know exactly what you believe, but you don't know what the fuck they believe, right? And when they start talking about shit, you're like, I don't know. The flat Earth guy kind of did it to me, but it's okay.
Just some of the stuff they say is so absurd that I'm just like, I don't know how to argue that.
It's
it's just so absurd.
It's fun though. Well, not fun when, you're fucking spreading diseases, but flat Earth, that's okay.
Spreading disease.
Yeah. But yeah, just even when places start opening up, guys, please still be careful.
Don't do what I'm doing. Don't touch your face. My hands have been washed, and I haven't been out of the house today. So I haven't been in contact with anybody other than whoever was here. But still, wash your hands, 20 seconds. Hand sanitizer, alcohol, kills it in, I think he said 30 seconds. This guy was a scientist. He was a doctor. So I'm going to trust what he said. 20 seconds, it's dead. Just scrub it.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
They told us not to wear masks didn't matter before, but I guess they matter. So wear a mask if you can.
Don't touch your face. Don't do what I just did. Do not touch your face.
Yep. Just be safe. Just because places are opening up doesn't mean that the disease it's a virus. I keep saying disease. Is that the same thing?
No, a disease can encompass a virus, a bacteria, a parasite, a fungus. a disease can encompass any of those, but it's not each of them
Closer
specifically.
to.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry. No, you're good, dude.
The mic was kind of far away.
No, I mean, I do that sometimes too. It's just like getting used to the mic because I'm a very like, I move my hands when I talk, and you do it too, so it's cool. But yeah, just because places are opening back up doesn't mean the virus is not still out there and it's not still serious. Not that you can that you can't catch it no more, or you can't give it to people. Please just be safe. Be safe until we actually know that till we actually know we can start functioning normal again. Just because it's open doesn't mean things are normal again, is what I'll say. So,
in which case, it's kind of your responsibility to keep yourself safe, to keep yourself healthy.
Be responsible.
Just be responsible. Look out for those who you care about, because at the end of the day, maybe you don't, you're willing to take the risk, but are you willing to risk, someone you love and care about? Yep. So that's kind of what it boils down to.
All right, guys. I think that's about it for us. Thank you to all the healthcare workers. Thank you to all the farm workers, all the supply chain workers, all the retail workers. Basically, everyone who's helping keeping this country run right now with everything shut down. So, guys, thank you for what you do. And thank you all for watching this look at COVID-19 from the Rooftop Podcast. We will see you in the next one.